This is how to come to Japan as an English teacher or an ALT. Let's get right into it. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Zoe and this is Zoe in Japan. So today, this is the first ever episode on this channel and I'll be sharing more videos on how to come to Japan, what you need to do, and life in Japan in general. But before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video and leave a comment. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about how to come to Japan as a non-native English speaker. I'm from Zimbabwe and Zimbabwe is a non-native English speaking country. This is what you need to know. If you come from countries like mine, where you're considered a non-native English speaking country, and you're interested in coming to Japan, let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the requirements that I needed, but these requirements, they are on the border for everyone, native and non-native English speaking. There's only one difference that comes on the requirements, which is the language level. So the first requirement that I'm going to talk about is education or qualifications. The first qualification is a bachelor's degree. So it doesn't have to be in education or in early childhood education or related to English or teaching. It has to be a degree in any field. So it doesn't matter whether it's accounting, business administration, or it doesn't have to be a BA. As long as it's a degree, then you qualify. So the second thing is teaching certificates. So these are not really required, but in my experience, it can actually make you a better candidate or just increase your chances. So you can do this online. You can find so many teaching English as a second language certificates, or TEFL or TOSL. You can find these online. There are so many companies and colleges, universities that offer this online. So just make sure that it's a 120-hour certificate. But then again, it's not a requirement. So if you want to do it just so that you can increase your chances, then please go ahead and do it. The third thing, and this is the part where it's important for every non-native English speaker out there who wants to come to Japan, is the language abilities. So for you to be able to teach English in Japan, you have to be a native English speaker, or if you're a non-native English speaker, your English speaking abilities have to be native level. So when I mean speaking abilities, I mean you sound and you talk like someone who has lived in a country where they speak English as an official language. So most companies will then say, if you're a non-native English speaker, you need to have had education for at least 12 years where education was conducted primarily in English. So 12 years is it's not really a lot if you come to think about it, because it's just from kindergarten up to maybe from Zimbabwe that will be up to Form 6. I don't know about the education level in other countries, so as long as you have done that, then you definitely qualify. How then do you prove that you actually have those 12 years of speaking English and you went to school and your education was conducted in English? So, well, ordinarily they'll ask you for a letter. So all you need to do is just to go to the schools or the school where you had your education, and they'll write you a letter, they'll put a stamp, and there's a letterhead, and it just confirms that such and such a person was a student at the school from these years to these years, and we conducted all our lessons in English, and you have all those letters. As long as they amount to 12 years, then you definitely qualify to teach English in Japan. The other requirement in terms of Japanese speaking abilities, you do not have to actually know how to speak Japanese. So you find that when you're applying for jobs, some jobs won't even mention that Japanese is a requirement. You can get a job in Japan without speaking Japanese. However, I highly recommend that you learn some Japanese. I think living in Japan and not being able to speak Japanese will not only make life hard for yourself, but it's hard. Okay, let's just say it's hard because you need to talk to people, you need to go to the grocery store, you need to go to the city hall. There's so much that you need to do, and you will find that every document is going to be in Japanese and everyone is going to be speaking Japanese. So you really need to learn Japanese. And lastly but not least is visa sponsorship. So every company that's hiring, as long as they're hiring a foreigner and they are hiring from abroad, most of these companies, they offer you visa sponsorship. So the only minimum requirement, or the only requirement for you to qualify for visa sponsorship, is to have a bachelor's degree, of which there's no way you're going to get the job without the degree. So you find that the moment that you actually have a degree and you're applying for the job, you then qualify automatically for visa sponsorship. So some companies, well, I haven't come across companies that do not offer visa sponsorship, so that's a good thing. So you do not really have to pay anything. Your degree is sufficient enough for you to get your visa, so there are no visa costs. So applying for a job in Japan, it's just you and your internet. Go on the internet and you're applying. The next thing you need to do is just find your flight fees and you're in Japan. I'm gonna be making so many videos of my journey here in Japan and what you need to do to prepare yourself to come to Japan, what you need to know, and how you can also get a job. So please do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, and also share this video. See you next time. Goodbye.